Welcome back to our regular subscribers and some new people that found our channel. Well, this episode will be the last in the Tamlyn series. I didn't think there would be another one after the last one, but as it turns out, Tamlyn's family managed to be brought into the mix. Likely someone worked for LA County managed to locate them. Lord knows we tried and didn't have a clue where they were. I just assumed they were in Missouri, but it turns out they were in Mississippi. And so they claimed his body and they took him home. Now, all details after that is unclear. I'm still trying to make an attempt to try to reach out to the family and perhaps maybe shed some light on a few things. I do have a theory as to what happened, but it's not appropriate for this video because, again, people who were close, that may care, or are related to Tamlyn might may not be able to handle what I have to say. So if you're curious and you run into me in the clubs and you want to know the hard truth, well, I'll give it to you if you're nice, but I'm not going to do it here. I thought about it. What we're going to do tonight is, well, first, let me tell you what happened when my father died. See, a few years prior, he announced to us that he was going to be moving to Arizona, and I told him, don't move out there, you're going to die out in the desert. I don't like deserts. Granted, my home side of my mother's family is from the Sinaloa Desert, so you can kind of figure it out. Between the stacks of dead bodies, murders, wandering ghosts, and heavy extraterrestrial activity at night. It'd be quite spooky, so don't care for that scene too much. My childhood's in Mexicali. Yeah. I used to get really spooked riding that Greyhound with my grandmother and at night, and she'd tell me, just ignore them and they will ignore you. Well, eventually they found me, but that's another story and I'm not going to go into it here. This is about my departed friend Tamlyn. And let me first also remind you that July in both Shinto and Japanese Buddhism is the month of Obon. Obon is when the world of the dead and the world of the living intersect. It's for the whole month. Ancestors, loved ones, and people you generally cared about, or people who cared about you, will come to visit. And the dead have been arriving. And Tamlyn has been, well, as you can see, I don't really do Goth Lolita as much as I would like to. I love Goth Lolita, but where can I do it? I mean, I tried going to the Lolita events, and the next youngest person was, well, let's just say me being 30 years older than the next youngest person, it really wasn't going to work out too well. So I do it at the clubs now and then, but we mostly, we juxtaposition looks between, you know, our Chanel goth and our Goth Lolita and our old school death rock and high glamour goth. You know, we do all, because, you know, we're not a one-trick pony. But being that it's Obon, the dead have been speaking, and Tamlyn's been quiet this whole time, but not this weekend. It's been laid in on thick. And getting back to me dressing a Lolita, well, let's just say this is kind of for him, because, you know, it's kind of like that shit, at least when I knew him. Even though he didn't know very much about it, but he did kind of love this kind of, at least kind of fetishized versions of this stuff. Not that I'm into cosplay or anything, or, and again, my feelings for him are very different from, say, how Roz was. I had a very different friendship with Tamlyn. I knew him in his professional life and his personal life. Recently, some dare I say, well, let's just say someone who doesn't know anything about me tried to school me about this, and well, that's on another video. But getting back to Tamlyn and how it relates to my father. When my father died, and I traveled out to Arizona to where he lived, spent the night in that house. He was throwing pots and pans and all kinds of weird, freaky shit, playing with the electrical, letting us know that he was there. Yeah, they can do that, especially when they have a hard connection. A lot of raw emotions. But after the panic had settled down, he came to me in a dream. And he had so much he wanted to say to me. But here was the problem. It was in this poorly lit living room. A lot of green 1970s furniture. I don't want to compare it to the Matrix, but kind of had that feel a little bit. He wanted me to come to him, and he wanted to talk to me. He had important things to say. And but there's one problem. As much as I want to reach out to him and hug him, there was this glass wall between us. And because of this glass wall, I could only see his lips moving and the look in his eyes, great sadness. Couldn't hear a word, just fucking silence. And that silence is haunting. And what can I tell you? This weekend, as we came across a cache of Tamlyn's final photos, some of them were staring back at me, and there was that silence again. But those eyes watching my every move. And I guess he wanted me to feel a little guilty. Not because I am, but he just wanted to see that I still cared. And now he's laid off a little bit. I decided to do this little favor for him. Besides, I love doing it. I just haven't had anywhere to do it lately. But it is what it is. So, what's left in this video will be his photos. Now, mind you, I came across more photos than what I'm going to share tonight. Those photos, because again, there are people that might find them disturbing, possibly his siblings. Don't think this old man's alive, but judging by how his tombstone gave absolutely no details of his life. Just a cold slab with his birth name, his surname, and dates. No brother, son, daughter, rock star, keyboardist for London After Midnight, sound engineer, sound editor for Ren and Stimpy and other Nickelodeon and other animated projects. No mixing for Bjork or nothing. It's almost like his life didn't fucking matter. Well, I'm here to tell you, as his one-time former best friend, his life did matter, and it still matters to me. It fucking breaks my heart and it makes me angry. A little at him, a little at me, a little at Sean, and there's others that feel collectively I think we all let him down. But you know, life is not just a two-way street. He was He was very stubborn, at least the Tamlyn I knew. Now, you heard me just say male pronoun because at that time, in that transition, I was completing 7 years of living as a transsexual woman, and never once did he ever express any interest in any of that stuff. In fact, he marveled at how I got through things. Every now and then, remind me how he was afraid of needles, but no interest whatsoever until that human parasite, which incidentally we found out the real name and their exact age. Anna, also known as David, was 20 years old at death. 20 fucking years old. I knew this kid was young, but damn. Sad. Well, due to YouTube restrictions and copyright issues, I can't play any music in this video without some fool from Japan or elsewhere complaining to YouTube and taking my video down because I use their music, even though it might be public domain or special licensing. People who have absolutely no respect for art whatsoever, no respect for life, will just come in and trample over someone's art piece or someone's epitaph or someone's great work, someone's craft, someone's heart that they have brought out for full display. And like a person with no fucking manners, they're gonna walk in your white, brand new, freshly cleaned white carpet with dirty, muddy boots, leaving a trail everywhere, and then having to complain that your furniture isn't comfy enough for them to kick their muddy boots on it. Yeah, well, that's the YouTube landscape, and it is what it is. So, as I conclude here, I'm relieved to know that Tamlyn has a burial site. I'm just sad to know that it's way out, fuck out Mississippi, a state I can never visit because people like me can be arrested just for simply using the restroom. Yeah, Nick Farr, one of those fucking rights. But I don't have to prove shit to you because it would be beneath me, frankly. And if you're still wondering, Banta, see my other video. That one's just for you. But for my friend, I'm not sure he meant to share this with people, but he had an account on a picture website that a lot of trans frequent. And like I said, some of his photos were, I really don't want to get into the detail, but I don't think his family would ever appreciate them very much. And it really saddens me to see. If you recall, when I read the coroner's report, it mentioned there were only 3 things in his apartment: big TV, a dresser, and a bed, in addition to the chair that was by his bedside. That was it. Nothing. Tamlyn was a keyboard player, rather famous one for a while, and sound engineer. He had a lot of computers, big Mac computers. He had keyboards. He had a lot of equipment and a lot of cool club gear. According to the coroner's report, there was nothing there. Spare apartment. While they listed as an accidental death. And that might be the case. but the level of fentanyl and the fact that no other drug was found made that Tamlyn was not alone when he died. Not alone. And that person cleaned up and possibly stole all of Tamlyn's stuff so they can get their next fix. It's a wild guess. Of course, there's more to my theory, but again, I'm not going to go into that because out of respect for those who care and those who may be related to him, no one really wants to hear that someone they cared about would be in such a position. And it saddens me to think of that. And we shed a lot of tears this weekend. Yeah, sure, I got high. I drank, smoked a lot. I just had to numb it all because, I mean, most times Oban is here nor there. I mean, I miss my other friends. I miss like Gia. I miss my girlfriend Shay and my other girlfriend Linda. I miss Don Diego. I miss Tracy Michaels, believe it or not. Yeah. Hey, he was a bandmate. You know, I miss Rob Graves. And of course, outside of family, there were others, including my mentor, the late Joe Galloway. Love that man. He connected me with everybody who was what power. Power in the highest defense circles. That's how I was able to write a lot of my books on military science fiction, and particularly my books on Vietnam. Damn, these things keep going out. They didn't used to in the old days, but it is what it is. Old gods never die. We just keep relighting. Yeah. What can I tell you? So, if you're not happy with how my series came out, or you have issues with dispute, I will remind you, as I did in my last two videos, these are my stories. These were my friends. These were people I cared about. These are my memories. I lived them. And you didn't. So for the rest of you, I give you a front seat window into the world I lived, the friends I had, and the people I loved. It's important that we share these experiences and we share our stories while we can. Tamlyn left this earth and took a lot of things with him. And sadly, we'll never know. But I'd already made a decision beforehand. That one would be me. I have some genocidal maniac in the White House who would love to have me killed right now. Me and every other person like me. And if Tamlyn were alive, he'd want to kill Tamlyn too. And because of that, we embarked on these video projects to make sure that we can't be erased. We just got too much content out there. Make ourselves known. Because I intend to outlive these fuckers. I loved watching Judgment in Nuremberg when I was a kid. Maybe if I'm so fortunate, we get to see a new Judgment in Nuremberg. Only this time it's going to have some familiar names. Well, that's another story for another time. So Tamlyn, I hope you love the whole Alita thing. I wish you had reached out to me. I'd already, by the time things got really bad for Tamlyn, I had already made the decision I was coming back. When you recognize that you are transgender, again, pretty much all of us has this weird experience when we're young. But usually around age 4 or 5, we call it the awakening. You don't quite understand it at that age because no one's going to tell you, but you remember it. And it tells you who you are and sets you on the path to do what you must do. Now, what was Tamlyn's true mission in life? We'll never fucking know, unfortunately. Tamlyn was never quite clear about why he was doing this. But I will admit, and it breaks my heart on one level and brings about admiration on another, because if these photos are indeed Tamlyn, and I only say this is because his parasite started imitating him from head to toe. Makeup, hair, start wearing his gear, start speaking in his voice, deliberately trying to pass himself off as Tamlyn. And it bugged the shit out of me. Unfortunately, some of these photos, they're indistinguishable. And it bothers me and makes me sad. But if they are indeed him, the trans woman that Tamlyn became, well, it's just a damn shame. All that work, all those surgeries, just to die the way Tamlyn died, leaving this earth. The indignity of being left there, abandoned, decomposing for weeks on end. This was not supposed to happen to him. Again, I feel we have all let him down. Maybe his fans who didn't know, fans who did know. Friends, bandmates, exes, we could have all asked. I made it a point to ask at least once a year, or if the thought crossed my head, I worried about him. I once told him, if you go down this path, it might kill you. It damn near kill me. And might still kill me. Oh, I have a doctor's supervision now. I've got this great support, but again, we have this homicidal maniac who seems to have some ridiculous hard-on for us all. And I don't quite understand what's their fucking beef when for the last 5 years all we ever heard was, my big stolen election. Oh, they stole from me. Life is unfair. So fucking sick of hearing that bastard's voice. All the evil fucking shit that man does. And I say, why did they take Tamlyn from me and left that bastard here? Yeah, I suppose that's a different debate. Well, I had feelings about the whole thing, and I thought about maybe taking one step further and see if I could reach out to Tamlyn, maybe do a sit down, see if we couldn't work shit out. It had been on my mind, but the universe was really telling me something was wrong. But it was the middle of the pandemic. We had survival on the mind. Now that smoke is cleared, we got the bad news. And that's been hard to process. Like I said, Oban can be hard sometimes. A couple of years ago, a dear friend in the Buddhist temple, Paul Tanay, who helped me write some of my books and helped me out with money and just kind soul, good man from Hawaii who served a plate coup in Vietnam. Nobody in that fucking temple told me that he died. I had to find out in the middle of the fucking service. This was my fucking friend. Nobody thought I cared. It was the fucking pandemic, for fuck's sake. You know, we were all in isolation. But they knew. They knew, and they didn't think it was important to tell me. A lot of people seem to think that about me. I don't understand why that is. I mean, people who just meet me and they read my resume, they go, oh my God, you know, it's like, fuck, I should be kissing your ass, you know? Or you must be really famous, you must have a lot. And well, fame comes and goes. I've had it here and there. I might still have a little left. That's possible. As my Russian girlfriend told me a year ago, there's still a movie out there for me. That's possible. I mean, a year ago, someone told me, there's still some music in you. You'll sing again. And I said, I doubt it. It's been almost 30 years. It's not that I couldn't put again together. It's just I was political poison. And seeing politics is like regular politics, poison. But let's put that aside. All right. From the remainder, it's Tamlyn's final photos. Have some tissue handy, and if you feel you need to contact me, you can do so in my post section, or you can email me, or if you know me on Blue Sky, or you know what clubs I go to in LA, it's okay. If you're polite, we'll talk. Till that time, be good to each other. And if you have a friend like I had, and you haven't talked, reach out to them. You might save their life. Okay, folks. I'll let the silence do the talking. Oh, my kids break that. All right, folks. It is what it is. Be kind to each other.